Good evening. Welcome in daily UPSC editorial audio program. Gold plus cash, Times of India. A battle to save Ladakh and all of humanity. The Hindu. Now the full editorial. Gold plus cash, the Times of India. World Athletics decision to offer prize money to Olympic winner is welcome. IOC and others should follow suit. In the path-breaking move, World Athletics WA will offer $50,000 prize money to each of the 48 track and field gold medalists at Paris Olympic Games. This is a break with the Olympics tradition of celebrating amateur sports person, but it is a long awaited break. Today's high performance Olympians are nothing like those of the past. The games themselves have changed radically. It's not just a sport. Olympics are the acme of international sports, but they are also big. They are also big business between 2017 and 2021. International Olympic Committee (IOC) made 7.6 billion in revenue through broadcasting and marketing rights and other sources. It distributed 540 million to 28 international federation at Tokyo Games. WA got $40 million. Why should not some of that money go directly to athletes, the real stars of Olympics? Performance needs money. Besides producing Olympics medalists today is an expensive proposition from special training and diet to getting the latest equipment and creating the right environment. Huge resources need to be mobilized. This simply is not possible without state, private, and corporate sponsorship. The reality is for elite athletes, the distinction between amateur and professional has either blurred or been completely uh, obliterated. Long time coming. Let's not forget IOC way back in 1985 had allowed professional tennis, ICE hockey, and U23 soccer player to compete in the 1988 games. So, professionalizing Olympic participation has been an ongoing trend. Athletes approve. The argument that all of this will undermine the Olympic spirit also doesn't fly. Athletes' main motivation is still winning Olympic laurels, not the cash. The latter is simply their due. Indian javelin ace Neeraj Chopra and Norway's 400-meter hurdles champ Karsten Warholm have already welcomed WS decision. IOC should run with the times and help underfunded feder- federation in offering similar prize money in their disciplines. A battle to save Ladakh and all of humanity. The Hindu. Sonam Bagchuk Climate Fast has highlighted the larger issue of the fragility of the Himalayan ecosystem. Janki Murel is a journalist and author. When Roman Magsaysay Award winner 2018 and climate activist Sonam Wangchuk addressed a 30,000 strong crowd at Leh Ladakh on March 6, 2024 to announce his 20-day climate fast. He was not just speaking to the people of Ladakh but also making an appeal to the world. Tucked away between India's neighbor Pakistan and China at a height of 11,500 feet, Ladakh comprises 97% indigenous tribes, many of whom lead simple pastoral lives and depend on farming and animal rearing for a livelihood. Apart from border dispute, the Himalayan region also faces the damaging effects of climate change through floods, drought, landslides, greenhouse gases, and other pollutants. There are about 15,000 glaciers in the Himalayan region, often referred to as the third pole. In spring and summer, these glaciers form an important part of the hydrological process by releasing meltwater to the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. The Himalayan glacier, like those in the rest of the world, uh, are at risk of melting due to global warming and climate change. This will affect both residents of the mountain region and those living downstream. Infrastructure boom. In 2008, the center launched eight, eight missions under the National Action Plan on Climate Change (NAPCC). One of these was under the Ministry of Science and Technology, the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, and NMSHE as the Department of Science and Technology DST website states the main objective of NMSHE is to develop a capacity to scientifically access uh, access the vulnerability of the Himalayan region to climate change and continuously assess the health status of the Himalayan ecosystem. So, why has NMSHE forgotten its role of protecting the Himalayan region? Almost as soon as Ladakh became a union territory, several mega infrastructure projects were launched at rapid pace. These included the construction of bridges, widening of roads, tunnel, railway lines, mega solar projects, a state-of-the-art airport terminal, and wayside amenities to boost tourism. Among these were the 14.15 kilometer Jojila Tunnel, the 230 kilometer Kargil Jangskar National Highway project, and a 10 gigawatt solar energy project covering 20,000 acre in the Changtang region. The Ladakh UT Industrial Land Allotment Policy of 2023 aims to make UT Ladakh one of the preferred destinations for investments. The Border Road Organization (BRO) has been spearheading many of these projects along with the National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited (NHIDCL). In its annual report of 2021-22, the NHIDCL states as its vision the following: to fast pace the construction of national highway and other infrastructure in the northern eastern region near border and strategic areas like Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, and also in the state of Uttarakhand and UT of Andaman and Nicobar Island. Incidentally, all these areas are vulnerable to climate change related disasters, a region that has been disastrous. What is puzzling is why the various government bodies sanctioning and executing the projects at such a feverish pace are not heed paying heed to the warning from the past disasters in the mountains and learning from them. Since 2010, there has been several disasters in the Himalayan region with a loss of lives and livelihoods. In 2013, a cloudburst in the upper reaches of the Himalayas led to flash floods at Kedarnath, claiming 6,000 lives and sweeping away several settlements. In January 2023, disaster struck Joshimath when water gushed down a lower slope of the mountain, submerging parts of the town. In November 2023, the rescue of 41 trapped workers in the collapsed Silkyara Tunnel project in the Himalayas gar- garnered international attention. Uttarakhand, where all these tragedies occurred too often, too has seen a slew of infrastructure projects from its formation in 2000. This this has continued despite dire warnings from geologists and ecologists. A Supreme Court of India constituted expert committee even suggested that authorities limit the number of pilgrims visiting the Char Dham Himalayan shrines as Kedarnath, Badrinath, Yamunotri, and Gangotri to carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is the maximum number of people that an ecosystem can support without eroding it. But instead, pilgrim numbers have only swelled every year. Some expert committee have even suggested that no hydroelectric projects are set up in the paraglacial zone. When tragedy strikes, the human cost of environmental destruction is sadly borne by poor migrant workers in ongoing projects and by residents, tourists, and pilgrims. Government bodies sanctioning the projects or the developers executing them escape the breath of the mountains. Scant review what has been frustrating climate change activists in their recommendations gathering dust despite approaching the courts and the formation of expert committees. Hardly any due diligence, which include risk assessment, safety measures, and geological and seismic analysis, goes into any of the multi-core mega projects in the mountains. In the name of development, we cannot afford to upset the fragile balance in the Himalayan ecosystem and its biodiversity. The onus is on all of us to ensure that the Himalayas and the people living under its shadow are protected. For Wakshuk's battle is not just about Ladakh and its people, it is a battle for all of humanity and its future generations. Thank you.